Yes, we're live on YouTube and live on Riverside.
Do you see us on YouTube right now?
Let me jump over to YouTube and find out. Oh, that's why I'm in wrong tab.
Oh, we are live actually.
We are live.
Yeah,
guys.
we're actually live. Yeah, we're live. Oh my God, we're famous.
I'll take it.
Guys, you're getting stage fright.
Not at all.
Tim,
Yeah.
Tim, I'm messaging you the link, and
I already posted it. I posted it on LinkedIn already.
Oh, yeah, we are
Matt
live.
has the link. Yeah, we're definitely live. 'Cause I have the notification. A bunch of old men playing with kids things here. All right.
Who are these old farts?
This is just remember, guys, it's a New Year's resolution. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention happy birthday, Dr. Q. My bad.
Oh,
Happy
thank
birthday.
you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm 31 again.
Nice.
I'm like the Benjamin Button of doctors.
Start offering peptides that come to fruition.
Exactly, they work. Well, gang, so I wanted to welcome everyone to our first podcast, our inaugural podcast. I'm joined by the two greatest marketers we've ever worked with, Matt Watson from Prompt Digital in the center, and on the right, the infamous Tim Morris from Bazaar Bunny Studios. So welcome, and a pleasure to get started.
All right.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Q.
All right. So I think what we can do is we can begin with like kind of a little bit about us. So we'll start from the right side and move down. So from my right, I see Mr. Tim Moore. So Tim, tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
What is your role with Bazaar Bunny? What do you do? And when did you get started? How'd you get there?
Yeah. So I'm the global managing director of our studios, and so we're setting up Bazaar Bunny Studios all over the world. It's all generative AI, and it's just because we recognize that finally it's cost effective to make full production. Like we can take what we were doing for Hollywood, and now we can do it here for almost next to nothing, and roll out incredible video campaigns, drama, ads, user-generated content. It's the Wild West. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, you guys have great work. I saw you guys first at I saw one of your ads, and I was fascinated. I think it was a bunch of cavemen having like a snowball fight or something, and I was like, this is so out of this world. And I clicked the link and I filled out the form, and less than 24 hours later, you're on the phone with me, and I'm just like, it was like love at first sight. It was so funny. Yeah. So yeah, you guys do great work. And then Mr. Matt Watson, I know about you. Tell the audience about yourself. What do you do? How'd you get started? How do we end up here?
Sure. Hey everyone, Matt Watson with Pronk Digital, soon to be Pronk Med Spa Marketing. We're doing a little bit of a rebrand in 2026. So I'm the owner of the business, and I've been in this industry now. Won't age myself here, but it'll be 23 years in March. I've been doing marketing and digital marketing and whatnot, primarily focused on aesthetics and wellness brands. And actually, I met Dr. Q, funny enough, through a Facebook ad. I was running some ads, ran into Dr. Q.
Yeah.
And he was interested. And I remember you called me like 6 times one day.
I did. Yeah. I violated your privacy.
Yeah, I think one time you called me. I was like cooking dinner or something, and I saw the call, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll pick up. So we started chatting, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And that was back in October, November, something like that.
It was October. Yeah. So Matt had a very professional ad. I think I guess the question is, so how do I, as a med spa owner, how do we end up here? The ad matters, right? So in the case of Bazaar Bunny, they had these very out of this world, visually pleasing ads that caught my attention there. Whereas Matt's ad was more, his was more like traditional, like targeted ads. Like I believe the ad that you had that caught my attention was was, you know, um, reactivate your database. You have so many leads you already have, just reactivate them. And that was your pitch. And it was a very clean ad. And I had to just, it almost was like an infomercial. I wanted to learn more about it. And that's how I clicked on Matt's. And when I first met Matt, what was nice about Matt was he didn't do that classic, marketing sales guy routine where they're all like smiling and laughing on the phone and doing that whole I'm your buddy routine. That was refreshing. Matt was very professional, very computer software kind of. Hello, I'm Matt Watson. What's your problem? And he's like a human chat GPT. He had so much knowledge and so much information. And I was just impressed by his level of knowledge of marketing and the med spa space. So I think that's how you and I first started off. And in the case of Tim was wild. I mean, he was pleasant. He was wild, and he was as eye catching as his ad. So yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be working with both of you guys.
Yeah,
Pleasure to work with you, Doc. It's been fun.
I will say, Dr. D, we like doing your ads. We have some great clients all over, but we love doing your ads because you're the ballsiest client we have. So
that's true.
You actually are willing to do. You're like, yeah, let's make that edgier. Let's push the limits. Let's go crazy. So we love it.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. When it comes to best buy marketing, Matt, in your experience, when it comes to ads, I feel like a lot of the ads are kind of the same old. It's like a old lady. She's rich. She gets something done and she's smiling for the cameras, and there you go. That's your routine run-of-the-mill ad. But your most successful clients, what do their ads look like these days in the current setting? Like what do your most successful ads look like for your more successful clients that you take care of?
A lot of the ads, so like with us specifically, we spend a lot of time targeting specific avatars. So one thing that we did with Dr. Q is we sent him a very lengthy questionnaire.
Yeah, you did.
Which took probably 2 hours of his time.
My divorce questionnaire was faster.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. When people start working with us, I was like, you get the questionnaire done? They're like, yeah, in about 20 more years. But the good thing about the questionnaire is it gives us some background into your business, into your existing avatars, if you have them. If not, we help you build them. But really, a lot of the clients that we have, their success comes from the fact that either we can identify specifics regarding their targeting, or they already have something in place. And then instead of doing what most people do is like, we'll run $6.99 Botox ads or something like that.
Yeah,
we write ads specific to the problem and specific to a person. So a lot of people, when they advertise, they kind of do a shotgun approach, which is try to get as many people as possible.
A one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah. And what we like to do is we'd like to write ads like we're talking to a single person. And so it resonates with people. And that's why we end up getting a lot of lead flow, which turns into high conversions for folks.
Correct. Yeah. And that's one thing I noticed with Matt. Unlike your competitors, the sheer volume and magnitude of the lead flow, we're not spending anywhere the amount of money in Meta that we used to with other agencies. And, it's almost like we're spending $10,000, $15,000 a month, but we're not. And we're getting so much lead flow. But I think this also ties into the success of our partners with Bazaar Bunny. I noticed the very moment we began running with their funny videos and some of their more catchier, ballsy kind of ads that these guys made for us, it was a synergistic effect. It felt like that was the day when we moved away from traditional TNT kind of explosives to nuclear fission reaction and creating a more dynamic like marketing campaign. And what began happening is I got what I wanted. When I met the guys at Bazaar Bunny, I spoke to your partner, Tim, Jonathan. I told him, look, man, I'm sick and tired of the current approach. I'm sick and tired of being like everybody else. We're just another blade of grass in a long field. We need to be different. If everyone's a grass, I want to be like a tree bark or something. I want us to be different. I want people to watch. I want people to want to watch the ads. I want them to watch the ad like it's a Super Bowl. I want them to watch them and share it and just have fun with it. And you guys gave me my wish. I mean, you guys did exemplary. Like the ads are very funny, very catchy. Now what's happening is when I go to the hospital, for example, people see me and they go, "Oh, Dr. Q, do you guys have any new ads?" I'm like, "Of course we do." And they're asking me, yeah, it's starting to happen. I go to a hospital like, "Oh yeah, Dr. Q, you're med spa. Do you guys have a new ad?" Like they're asking me to ask about the ad. I'm like, "Sure." So I take out my phone and I show them the YouTube, and they're watching your guys' work. They're watching like the Mexican mariachi band singing for the guy while he's getting his laser done. Or they're watching like the other guy escape the sun. They're watching all these things and they're just mesmerized by it. And it's fantastic work you guys do. What are some of the challenges you see in terms of ad? So this is more of a Matt question than a Tim question. Matt, Facebook had that, or Meta had that Andromeda update. So I guess they've changed the algorithm. Can you tell us more about what that means for the average, business owner and how their marketing is going to change?
No, yeah, sure. So with Facebook, back in the day, it was really just you would create a campaign, you would have your ad groups, and you just run with it. So you'd have a few ads within an ad group and go. Now Facebook with the Andromeda update's been really interesting. So they're really heavily pushing their AI. So right now, all you really have to do is have one campaign, one ad group, and then just a ton of creative. But what's interesting though, it's creative diversity. So instead of the traditional method of having, let's just say, 5 of the same ads with different hooks on the either the copy or the image or the video, you need typically 10 to 15 completely different ad approaches. So the AI can go review it and then place it with what the AI assumes would be the best contact or the best lead for you. And it also helps determine what's the best course of action in terms of them getting a conversion. So whether instant forms, etc.
So that's what I had heard. But then my question is, how do you do that? Do you take the same video and make minor adjustments, or do you make the cameraman do more video footage, or you take the original footage and just change different parts of your B-roll? How do you achieve this effect?
Yeah, you.
To that, Matt,
Okay, we could let Tim.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
Tim's
so
the video expert.
Yeah.
Four primary categories. So we've got like our general branding commercials, which are our commercials, okay? And they can roll 15, 30, or 60 seconds. And we can change those demographically. We can change the language. We've got like a nutraceutical brand right now that we're taking all of their ads. They have about 12 commercials right now, and we're doing them all in Spanish now. And we're going to be rolling them down through the southeastern market.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's some of the change up. But those are branding ads. Those are what we call commercials. What we're used to seeing on TV. And sometimes we like ads and sometimes we don't. We're trying to make ads that people like, that are fun. The next one would be the short takes or cutting those up into specific bite-sized chunks. And this is where you drop it down into an 8-second to 15-second ad, where you're just trying to get people to either hook in or watch the long form ad. Then we move to UGC or user generated content ads. And on the AI side, what we're trying to do is make it very simple to set up and create these wonderful UGC sort of skits without having to set up the cameras and go out on site and then film and then edit, because we can create these UGC ads.
We have one coming out soon, huh, Tim?
Then I saw it today with the horses and all that. That was pretty awesome.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
It's really
it's coming. It's coming. It's a good one. It's coming.
Yeah, we got better ones coming though with Genghis Khan. So that one's coming next week. That one's gonna be crazy.
That'll be crazy.
Yeah, but the UGC, let's just say standard UGC content, it's not so hard to make. And the next one would be what we call curated UGC. And these are longer form UGC ads. They're almost the same, and they're just as good as the brand ads, the brand commercials. Brand commercials, though, are all made for CTV as well, though. You can put them on TV if you want. Maybe not so much with the UGC or the curated UGC. So those are the kind of like the 4 categories. And to Matt's point earlier, honestly, you want to have, I would say, 1 to 2 brand ads coming out per week. Truly, you want to have 4 to 8. Um, I'd say at least 4 of the short trailers. You want to have 4 to 8 or 4 to 6 UGC, and probably 2 long form UGCs. And you want to do that every week. That is a stable subscriber growth model that's going to grow your brand.
How do you come to that conclusion? Is it based on your internal experience, studies? How do you reach that conclusion?
It's based on the shortest path to return on investment.
Okay.
So yeah, we could go overboard. We could do a lot more, and we could do less. But from a minimal effort perspective, to be matched with realistic ad spend. I mean, $50 a day. I mean, that's not quite there. Not for the lead gen. Your ad spend across platforms, because we're not just working with Meta, obviously. It realistically needs to be 150, and you've got to have the. You'll talk about this, I'm sure, a little bit more, Dr. Q. But you got to have the intake team as well, because the leads are going to come in. If you do this, the leads come in.
Yeah.
Then you got to convert them, and then you got to work your remarketing as well. So, but just from a minimal perspective, it's not that expensive to have that steady pace of running anywhere from 12 to 18 posts, because you don't have to recreate, the whole farm every single time you do a post. A lot of that stuff can be recreated and rescripted and put out very, very quickly. So yeah, with a steady, at least I would say at least $100 a day on your ad spend, that's going to get results, and then you're going to see, the money.
I would caution that from my own personal. Of course, I'm not the marketer guy. I'm the consumer of your guys' services, but I think that whether you're spending $100 a day or $1,000 a day or $5 a day, I think it comes down to fundamentals. How good is the ad? How good is your offer? It comes down to fundamentals. If you have a bad ad, you can spend $5 billion. You'll go nowhere. And likewise, if you don't have a very good offer, you have to convince the consumer that this service or product is going to help you in any meaningful way. If the ad couldn't convey that, I don't know that money will necessarily make the difference. I personally feel like the basic elements have to be met. You have to have a good offer. You have to demonstrate that your product or service can help someone. And then, of course, the creative is key. And that's where, Bazaar Buddy, you guys have been outstanding in terms of messaging communication. Now where Matt's genius comes in, and now that you've given us a great, ad, what do you do with it? These companies, Meta and Google, I feel like they make a lot of money because unlike a billboard sits for everybody like this. Everyone's watching the same thing. Nobody cares. They get ignored a lot. But with this digital marketing, these companies have developed very advanced algorithms over several years that can target who the computer thinks is most likely to buy these services. So other med spas will be targeting those same 5 people who think they need some kind of laser to correct their problem. So how do you win in that environment? I've been through so many marketing companies now. I feel like I've become an expert myself because of all the people who we've gone through. But I think so far what we have found successful has been a combination of your guys' visual ads and of course Matt's ingenuity with targeting. How do you target? Who should we target? How do you target? I feel like once you've figured out the right formula, then it's time to dial in the volume, put up the numbers. Don't do $50 a day. Do $200 a day. Do more. Once you found success early on and can get your conversions and you think it's going to work, then I think you ought to raise the dollars. I guess one of the things that I noticed early on in my early experience was every med spa, kind of company, like marketing company, told us kind of the same thing. Oh, well, if you spend more, you get more. It's exponential. And they made this kind of, I felt it was kind of like this false advice that as long as you spend more, it's always going to be better. And that did not end up being true. In the case of Matt and your guys' partnership, we have spent among the fewest dollars we ever have on actual Meta spend. and our results have been dramatically better than when we were spending 10, 15, 20,000 a month. So that's just my opinion. But I guess this comes down to advice. This is more of a Matt and then a Tim question. At what point do you tell your client, "Hey, I think this current campaign is good. It's time to raise the dollars. You're putting $50 a day. I think it's time to double it." When do you make that recommendation, and how do you know they're successful?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, there's a couple different ways. Typically, we'll start off the campaign like $50 to $75 a day. The way that we'll determine that if it's a good time to increase the volume or increase the amount of dollars spent is going to be based on the number of leads and the number of conversions. Because at the end of the day, you can get 10,000 leads, but if
Correct.
none of them convert, what's the point? So we look at that conversion element. Are you converting? Are you making money? Yes. Okay, good. Are you making your money back? Yes. Good. Let's increase it. We'll typically we'll try to jump it up about 20% unless you're just having an absolutely incredible campaign, which happens frequently. But what we end up doing there is doubling or tripling the amount of spend. I'm working with a client right now. We're spending close to $1,000 a day on Meta, and she is just absolutely killing it. Over Christmas, she had us turn off the ads because she had so much lead flow coming in that she's like, "We can't handle this, just shut it off." And I'm like, "Can we slow it down?" She's like, just kill it. I was like, "Okay, fine." And we turned it back on.
So she was spending 1,000 a day on Meta ads.
Yeah, $1,000. And we started her off at, I don't want to lie here, but I think we initially started the campaign at 50 or 75 in middle of November, kept iterating, and then we got her up to 1,000 like 2 weeks before Christmas, and it was just printing for her. She made more money in the last 3 months of the year than she made in the entire first part of the year.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
On average, how many? I mean, this obviously takes trial and error. You know, you were not going to hit a 3-pointer on the first shot. In your experience, Matt, for your clients who are successful, how many campaigns in do you kind of reach that success? Is it like the second or third campaign or the fifth? When do you say it is?
So it's going to depend on the offer, really. I would say typically, like, so say for instance, we're running with like, just say Cool Peel, for example. Hey, we want to promote our Cool Peel. Yeah, typically the second campaign is when we have everything fully dialed in, because we can use the first campaign, we can generate leads, we can see how the leads are working, what's happening with the leads. Once we have that initial information, boom, we can turn around, start a new campaign, dial in the offer tighter, including the landing pages, nurturing, etc. Then after that, it's pretty much golden. Every once in a while, we have to go to a third campaign, but that's few and far between.
Yeah. Tim, where do you guys get your creative inspiration? Like, when you guys start with your clients, do you just kind of ask them, "Hey, what do you want? You want an emotional ad, a serious ad?" Like, how do you guys find your creative? Because you guys are basically artists. So how do you guys find it?
Yeah. Well, we've been running commercial ads for the larger studios for about 20 years. So there's nothing, but we've been waiting for AI to come out so that we can have the freedom to do what we've always been dreaming of doing. And we've got a large team. So we've got creatives all over the world, and we recruit the best. And it's not just the AI animators, but the script writers and comedians. And it's kind of, when I said it was the Wild West, I mean it. It's like the creatives have been unlocked. Like they can just dream, and that's pretty much what we hire them to do. We tell them, "Hey, you guys, we need you to be in flow state twice a day. We don't know, whatever it takes to get there. We don't care. Just, you got to have at least 2 3 to 4 hour sessions where all you're doing is having fun and coming up with the craziest, best ideas you can come up with." We do take scripting, of course. A lot of clients are very direct on what they want, and they have a vision, so we help them find it. But man, a lot of work goes into that. Like 3 weeks of work, dozens and dozens of studio hours, refining to get the vision just right, and then they run the ad because they're so sure it's perfect, and we're like, we should have just run 12 ads in that time and watched what your audience responded to. You don't have to. This is not this isn't, it's not surgery, it's not laser surgery. It's like, you know, get out there and just start having fun and be willing to laugh at yourself a little bit, be willing to be serious and empathetic. And there are so many freaking ways to approach this, you know, client base, narrative, story, dramatic, irony, you know, humor. It doesn't really matter. And like it's just fun. But it's so easy. It really is easy to make these ads now with AI. It's really easy.
I always, it's kind of funny when I first started working with you guys, and you know, we did our early storyboards together. I remember it always felt like kind of like that show Mad Men, where the you know John Hamm is asking to learn more about, you know, the prospective client's business, and they tell him, you know, we sell lipstick. We sell, ours lipstick is the best. Our cigarettes are the best. Other brands don't have. And then, you know, John Hamm looks into the sky, and he gets this really powerful idea. I always feel like we kind of have some of those moments sort of with me, you, and John. You know, we're sitting there, except ours are the opposite. Whereas John Hamm's moments in Mad Men were more dramatic, ours were more comical. It's usually me after a night shift. I'm exhausted. I'm caffeinated. I'm like, guys, I had this vision. There's this horrible holiday party where everyone looks terrible. I wanted to do like a Nightmare on Elm Street style, like Halloween party, or like a Christmas party where it's like Halloween, everyone's terrible, and that was our very first set, and that was highly successful.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, Dr. Q, because you were willing to trust the process, and it, you know, the issue is that, like I said, people get really so emotionally attached to their ad, and like the ad could get 2 views, you know, and nobody even watches the entire ad, and that could be it. You could spend, you know, $10,000 and 1,000 hours trying to do it, and nobody really cares. But because you you quickly just let go and said, okay, I'll trust you guys. And now you are creating, and you're bringing the feedback from your clients and your fans and your friends. And so we have more content than we know what to do with, and we're able to roll the content out very, very quickly, which is why we can do a pace, you know, of running, you know, 6 to 12 to 18 ads a week, because the ideas are there and they're easy to make, and we can reiterate or repurpose or reframe them. It goes, you gotta just let go of being attached and wanting the ads to win an Academy Award or an Emmy every time. And you've done that. So that makes it easier, you know.
But in both of you guys' process, Matt and Tim, what do you think leads to a better outcome? Is it the paternalistic, just sit back, let us do all the work and don't be involved? Or is it the more, you know, cooperative, like, hey, we're in it together, help me help you? What is the best approach for best success? Because you guys obviously are experts. You know, us people, you know, us business owners, we're not experts in marketing. If we were, we wouldn't be calling you, you know. Matt is very good at what he does, and you're quite good as well. Like, what in your opinion, what is the best way? Because, you know, I think in my case, I'm over 2 years in this business, and I'm having to deal with marketing. You know, I'm more knowledgeable now than I was from trial and error. But how do you deal with a client who has no idea? Like, they're totally wrong. You know, he wants to pitch, you know, cigarettes in the same way you would pitch candy. It's not going to work. Like, how do you handle that? Do you guys recommend a paternalistic approach for your first time clients, or a partner approach?
Matt, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So in that specific instance, we try to collaborate as much as we can with the client.
Correct.
But, you know, there's the old saying that, you know, the client's always, or the customer's always right. But that's not true. That's not true. Yeah. You know, having done this for almost 23 years now, I've run into quite a few people who, I'm not saying that I am the end all be all expert at anything. That's not the case, but I know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And there's just times where you just have to be like, you just have to say, look, I've been doing this amount of time. That's not going to work. Or you turn it into a collaborative discussion, you know, working with you, Dr. Q, I've never had that issue, but I've had clients in the past where I've gotten on the phone with them, and I've just sit there and we've just gone back and forth and just talked through the situation and talked through the idea, and just kind of guided them in the right direction. Because sometimes people have really good ideas, they just don't know how to execute on them well, or they're not able to articulate it well. And there's times where I've spoken to med spa owners who kind of had this just very rough idea that through conversation we've turned it into fantastic ads. But there are other times though where I just have to tell people like, no, we're not doing that, and here's why. Especially when you get to people who want to run like those Groupon type ads, who are complaining about bad lead flow. It's like, well, if you're hunting down price shoppers, that's all you're going to get. If you're advertising to Walmart, you're going to get Walmart. You're not getting Louis Vuitton or Balenciaga people. And so you have to have those type of discussions with folks, but that's typically the process. But I would like to hear about Tim.
Tim, what do you think? How would you do it?
I think most people they're going to have to learn. They just learn by experience. So generally with first few ads with a lot of clients, we let them do what they want to do. I mean, if they really want to organize and manage the whole thing, and and this is their first time. Here's the point about generative AI video is that you can make the story you've always dreamed of. And really candidly, the branding that most business owners have envisioned, during their most inflated moments, of business success and happiness and power and empowerment, that vision is finally realizable. Like, we can capture and create the vision that you always had for your business, and we can make it as good as Hollywood, period. Like, we can tell that story, but you're not going to be able to do it right out of the gate. You're going to have to learn about production. You're going to have to understand client response, which can be a bitter pill to swallow sometimes. What we love producing is what the people want to see sometimes. And so you have to moderate and modify based upon the results. But I tell you what, when you said that you're not the expert earlier, I wanted to argue with you, because in truth, here's the thing. There are little emotional moments that you have every day with your staff, with your clients, with vendors, with new products, when you're sitting there paying bills. Those are the moments that create meaningful context to why you love your business and your customers. All right. And those are the kernels that we're trying to dig out and find. And so the more comfortable you get with the team, the more comfortable you get with the process, the less emotionally involved you are in the success of the ad, and you understand that the process will always work as long as you are diligent and persevere week after week after week. It will always work. You will find your ad. If people can just let go, then they're going to succeed. So we usually tell clients, listen, minimally, we're going to engage you for 60 to 90 days. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no one-hit wonder. It doesn't work that way. So
I don't know, man. I disagree. Our first ad together, an absolute stunner. It was an absolute winner. Like when in fact, when you guys were making it, you didn't even make the whole ad. It was just 3 seconds of it, and I was already busting out laughing. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even have to see the. I know it's going to be great. That's the talent. This is ultimately what we're all paying for talent. Someone's talent and their expertise. That's what we're all paying for. And you guys were fantastic. That you made my dream come true. I had this vision of this awful holiday party, this dark holiday party. And it was fantastic, and me and Matt, we had a great time, and that's awesome. In terms of your origins, we'll start with you, Tim. Bizarre Bunny. How'd you guys come up with that name?
John founded it. It's trying to be an edgy sort of, we're emulating some super movie stars, I would suppose, and I'm not going to say who, but we're just kind of just pushing into a little bit flippant, a little bit, let's do whatever we want to do. We're here to make ads that work and to have fun.
But why Buddy specifically? Why couldn't you choose another Adam? I'm just curious.
I think it
Was
just
Bizarre
the
Turtle
assonance.
not the right
No, the
bell?
assonance of the name. John's gonna have to answer that next week when he
Okay.
gets on. You're gonna have to
Okay.
hold that question.
Because
That
I've
was
always wondered about you guys, like Bizarre. You guys definitely are, and I appreciate that. I'm bizarre myself, so I get the spirit of it. But you chose bunny specifically, and I wonder
funny.
why not
I'll,
Bizarre Tortoise, Bizarre
I'll say
Elephant,
something.
Bizarre Tiger.
We may be flippant and a little fun, but right now I think we're the only studio that is working with internationally with all the primary medical associations. So we're working now with the UK with their leading medical associations, the PAGB, ASA, and the OTC. We are helping them develop their compliance standards right now for AI commercials within the industry. We're doing the same thing here in the U.S. Medical industry by medical industry. We actually have a very deep background with industry standards and associations. We're probably the most ethically minded studio in that we are really working right now to work with the unions effectively because there's a lot of talent that has been sort of displaced or is being displaced, and we're trying to give them jobs. And then we also work internationally. We work on a very standardized pay rate. We do not the individuals around the world, whatever country they're working in, are being paid. They all get equally bonus in some sense. Like we do an international equal pay scale bonus for all net profitability, but they get paid way more than any of their contemporaries do because we're trying to have an equal pay globally for our employees. So we are crazy when it comes to our work and our creative, but we're not crazy when it comes to the way we approach business and industry. So that I'll add that.
And then Matt, you guys are Pronk Digital, Pronk, Pronk. There has to be a story behind this. What's the story behind the name?
Well, there's a couple different stories. There's the ones that I tell clients, and there's the true stories. So which one do you guys want?
True. Both.
We want both. I want it all.
Okay.
I want it. What's
Okay,
the
great.
official answer? What's the secret, real answer that you won't tell the public? Was this something that happened at a bar? What's the story?
Well, alcohol was involved.
Okay, there we go.
So the story I tell everyone is that I really like springboks, which are a type of antelope, and when they're
Correct.
excited or they're scared, they jump up in the air or they pronk up in the air, and pronk is a Dutch surname. So I was like, oh, that sounds familiar, and plus I like the word pronk. The true story.
It's also the official mascot of the South African rugby team, the Springboks. There you go.
Very true. The true story is I used to play a lot of golf. Yeah, I don't play much anymore because I hurt my shoulder actually doing Muay Thai. But some friends and I were playing skins, so it's where you gamble when you're playing golf. And a friend of mine was talking a little bit too much trash, a little bit too much booze got involved. Anyways, we got to a hole. He's like, double or nothing. And I was like, there's no bleeping way. No, not happening. No. Yeah, so he gets a hole in one. He ends up winning the hole. We're in the process of doing a rebrand, and his name is Tim Pronk is his name. So he turned around, he went Pronk Digital. I was like, son of a fine. I'm a man of my word. So we just kind of ran with it, and it stuck.
Whoa.
And that was 5 years ago, something like that. And I like the word Pronk. I always liked his last name, so I was like, yeah, it fits. So we're going to run with it.
Pronk reminds me of like sci-fi. Reminds me of like one of the creatures from Star Trek. Pronk. So I thought maybe it was a sci-fi because you see you're kind of nerdy like I am. I thought there's a little sci there, but okay, well that's a good story.
Yeah. We used to gamble like when we played golf and stuff a lot, and I just I thought I had a sure bet on that one, and I lost because otherwise he'd have owed me about $14,000.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's a pretty rich guy, so it wouldn't have bothered him too much. But we started off at $1 a hole, and then trash started happening. It went $1 to 10 to 20 to 100 to 1,000. So,
well, I'm gonna ask you guys some tough questions now. I want to know from each of you guys, starting with Tim, 'cause I know Tim will have a good story. What was, without going to details, obviously you can't go into details, but what was your worst client like? You start, Tim.
Well, I gotta start. Oh my gosh.
Matt's
I
next.
know we can say it for Bizarre Bunny.
The worst client, the
Yeah.
one that made you want to just not do it anymore.
I
What
will
was
tell
it
you
about
this,
them that
this
was
client-
terrible?
This client, it's a plastic surgeon.
That's all you had to say.
It's those surgeons, the God complex, huh?
It was a plastic surgeon. We were building. He spent a lot of money. He spent almost $450,000. We were building out. We were building out a gambling system for him, a sports-based gambling system. I won't say which.
For a doctor, you're building a gambling system.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the sport that he was very invested in and he loved. And
Isn't marriage enough of a gamble for these doctors? Isn't marriage enough?
yeah, no kidding. I mean, he has several clinics. It was okay the money wise. We designed and we built an incredible system. In fact, this was back in 2012. We broke some industry. I mean, we did things no one had ever done that changed the industry. This is way back, in software dev days. But dude, he ended up hiring a couple of people, the CEO in particular, and a CMO, and they came in and everything was destroyed because he brought in two people who had no idea, who thought they knew how to build something. They didn't know at all what they were doing, and it was like a year's worth of work, almost $500,000 gone in an instant.
Oh no.
I've never been more disappointed in my life. That was such so yeah, you do not take your dream and your vision and hand it over to somebody, giving you a pipe dream and a promise. Don't ever do that. That sucks.
How about you, Matt? I'm sure you've had some bad ones.
Oh man. Yeah. I've had some interesting ones. Do you guys want the absolute worst client or like the one that just immediately popped into my head first?
That's usually the worst one, is it not?
Not in this case, no.
Okay.
Bear with me here. My changing my privacy settings there for share the stream. The one that I would say the one that broke my heart the most was I was working with actually a med spa who was relatively local. They were having financial problems. They were close to going under, and they were like, "We need some help." I was just like, sure, I'll help you guys out. We'll figure something out down the road. They wanted to trade for treatments. I'm like, nah. I was like, yeah, I clearly need it, but I was like, we'll figure something out. Ended up developing a fantastic friendship. Everything was great. But the owner was just, I don't know what her issue was. It wasn't like anything personal with me. She just, she was like a little tornado, like a little Tasmanian devil. She'd get an idea in her head and then just go around and just change everything. And we were running ads for her. And actually at one point I was covering her ad cost because I wanted to help her out. And we ended up, we were starting to generate leads for her. We ended up well over 1,000 some leads. I put in a whole nurturing sequence, like everything in place, like you are set up for success. What I charge somebody is about I'm not saying particular, but the service I was giving her, like I was going on site, helping her out, everything. I charge about $7,500 a month to do that. Like I'm coming to your med spa, we are working together type thing. And it was an absolute shit show. Like everything that we did for her, everything, we were getting her leads. Her salespeople were terrible. I'm like, you need to redo your sales processes. You need to do this. My team's fine. I got this training from this so-and-so person. I was like, well, if you're getting 100 leads and you're getting 4 bookings out of 100 leads, that's terrible. And if none of those leads show up, that's even worse. Well, it's your issue. No, it's not my issue. It's your processes. Like, let's change. Let's do this. I was like, it works for the other 200 some other med spas we're working with, so it's not special to you. And I just got to the point where I just kind of was just like, I'm done. And then the funny thing was, this was all for free. And then she ended up firing us because she wanted to work with some guys who did AI outbound calling. She's like thought that was going to be what revolutionizes her business. And she
sounds
called
like
me.
Matt. That sounds like me. Are you talking about me in the form of a woman?
No. You're cool. I like working with you. But
something I would have done.
No. But she just called me up on the phone one day and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go work with this other company." And it's like, "Cool, okay." So I was like, "See ya." Yeah, I'm doing all this free work, so I blocked her number and everything because I didn't want to listen to her. And yeah, it's been.
Did she do okay?
No, she's no. But what can you do?
C'est la vie, c'est la vie.
Yeah, that's what my wife said. My wife's like, just move on. Sometimes you want to help people, right? Just because you feel you need to, and it just. Long story short, I'll never do that again. But never again. I will.
But let's talk about that. You mentioned an interesting, point in your discussion, because this happened to me early on. One of the first marketing agencies we work with, something odd was happening. They were generating a lot of leads. I'll give them that. However, the leads were weird. Like we would call them, and they had no idea who we were. And I'm like, "What? Didn't you click on our ad yesterday or recently about so and so offer? Who? What? Oh, you don't know that you clicked an ad?" And in those days, I was new to marketing. I didn't realize what those guys were doing was they were not making you fill out the form. It was one of those lead form ads where they click it and it auto saves the data. And from what I learned, I think one of the reasons we had so many leads because they were all bad. Maybe the dog clicked the mouse by accident, or the nephew was on the same account. It wasn't the client. I mean, how do you know when someone gets a lot of leads that they're legitimate leads, or maybe they did something shady, like they bought the leads from somebody else and just gave it to you? How do you know they're real until you call? I mean, how would you know?
So on Meta, unfortunately, you don't until you get a hold of the person.
Okay.
I know that a lot of the marketing companies, and I'm not saying names, but I know a lot of med spa marketing companies who will pay virtual assistants from like the Philippines or Pakistan or whatever to go fill out instant forms or go to their landing pages and fill it in just so they can get leads. It's like those guys that, and you guys can thank Alex Hormozy for this. I'll get you 90 leads or 90 days or you don't pay or something like that. Well, most people get excited. They're like, "Oh, hey, this is great. I'm gonna get 90 leads in 90 days." Not qualified leads, just 90 leads. And there's a lot of very fine print in the contract. And so what they'll do is they'll go have people fill out the instant forms for you. Okay, great. Well, I got you 90 leads, right? That's what they do. But to answer your question, circling back to that, is you really don't know until you get a hold of them and you start interacting with them. That's the only real way that you know that they're valid leads. But you can really kind of tighten up your targeting to actual human beings to some extent. But Facebook is rampant with fraud in terms of quality of leads, because even my own campaigns, I will run campaigns and I will get somebody like in my campaigns, for example, I'll say med spa owners something. And I'll get leads from, I actually had a guy up in Jacksonville who owned an auto body shop who filled out an ad form. It's like, so I called him. I was like, blah, 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 blah. He goes, I don't own a med spa. Why are you calling me? Because you filled out my form on Facebook, which went to my landing page that you filled out that was all med spa specific.
Did he know he did that?
Yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I just wanted more leads." And I'm like, it specifically calls out med spa owners. Doesn't say anything about used cars, anything like that. He goes, "Yeah, I thought you could help me." Well, not really my industry. Sorry. He's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, thanks." And I wanted to send him an invoice for the money, but it's like, you're wasting my time. But there's that, and the same thing with like Google ads. You have to deal with kind of the same process there, but you have click fraud there too. Actually, your competitors can drive up your bill. It's not as
So how does Google track that? Like, do they figure out that my competitors keep clicking my ads to run up my tab? Do they know?
Yeah, to some extent. So it's gotten a lot better recently, but back in the day, you used to be able to just go click, refresh, click, and just run up their ad spend. That's what lawyers used to do to each other. Because
That's so-
Yeah, they
personal
still do
injury,
it, but
oh, they do, yeah. Personal injury attorneys, they'll pay $500 to $1,000 a click because they know that there's a potential huge sum for that. Same thing in the med spa industry, but you can. It's not as bad as it used to be because Google's gotten a lot more intelligent. But you could run proxies. People have tons of fake Gmail accounts that they'll go log into, or they'll pay a VA to go and like burn through your spend and stuff. It's still pretty rampant, but it's not as easy it used to be. It just takes a little bit more effort. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Dr. Q. So, I don't know. I'll put it this way. Like, let's say you go to a carnival, right? It's maybe it's state fair time locally or something. You go to the
Sure.
carnival. All right. You're hanging out with people running the stands and the games and stuff like that. You're meeting them. You can tell that there's a slight skew to the individuals and the people that you're working with, right? Whereas, I don't know, switch this over to like one of the better medical associations you can work with, where you as a professional are always being, assisted, helped, taught, empowered. When you're in a place with professionals who cherish truth, people of a noble spirit, let's put it that way. There's a difference, okay? And if you find yourself suddenly wandering around and hanging out with people in the advertising industry and you have no idea what they're talking with and they're giving you a bunch of great promises and all these crazy things, I'm telling you who you're hanging with, right? You get a different feel. You should know. There is no cheap answer, by the way. People tell me they get frustrated. They're like, well, I don't want to pay this much for my AI moderation. I don't want to pay this much for my social media management. And we're like, well, unfortunately, maybe you don't understand the actual, people power that it requires to do this. Companies like Matt, one of the most reasonably priced companies I've ever found. Now, I appreciate the fact that Matt's doing this for, hundreds of med spas around the country. He has built efficiencies, but he's got an incredible staff. They always do what they say they're going to do. They always respond to phone calls, emails, and texts. And I'm not left wondering, right? You'll know if it seems too good to be true. It is 100% of the time. Okay.
Yeah.
You're never going to get free advertising. Find a great crew. You should feel comfortable. You should understand what you're doing, and it should be a long-term process. You gotta go ahead, Q.
One thing I was going to say when it came to marketing, I think one of the biggest mistakes we made was we went to people who had tremendous success in their past, and they were charging exorbitant fees. So we assumed because this agency helped produce this star, physician influencer type, they definitely got to do it with us. And that was not true. We were very badly disappointed. I think some firms become so big on their previous successes, they just kind of hire some kid intern to be the account manager, let them do whatever they want with that much oversight, and you get mediocrity to mediocrity. And then when you're finally quitting, then the boss comes in, no, I can save it. Now it's like, no, we've dropped $30,000-$40,000. We're struggling. That's been our story with some of our previous marketers. But what's nice about Matt is Matt never let that happen. I mean, Matt obviously has people working for him, but he always made sure his fingerprints are there, which I think a lot of these larger organizations, they lose that. They lose it, I feel. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah. What I see a lot of is agencies will get to a certain size and they'll develop an SOP, like a standard operating procedure, and then they hand it off to your point, some kid right out of college or some VA from the Philippines or whatever, and they'll just say, follow this and it'll work. Well, okay, cool. That's 10% of it. The other 90% of it is being in the trenches. Not that I'm trying to compare myself to like Delta Force or anything, but who do you want to come save you? you want the guy who just got out of basic, or do you want the Delta team to come and get you right?
we want the sniper. We want
Yeah.
the guy with the award.
Yeah. That's what ends up happening. The agencies get large enough where they've had such luck and success that they just pass everything off. The guy sits back, puts up his hands, tries to collect some money, and then, to your point, after a few months, things start going down the crapper. Then they're suddenly like, "Well, I'll jump in and save it." It's like, why weren't you there from day one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's not so much them agencies getting so big that they rest on their laurels. What it is an agency having success and getting purchased. It's the groups that are aggregating smaller agencies because they think they've got it figured out. That's what you want to watch out for. So you don't want to go there.
I guess the $1 million question is, how do you know who's good? That's the question I think every viewer of this is going to wonder. Well, if these guys are bad, what successful ones are bad, and then the unsuccessful ones are bad, how do I know which one is good? And that's the question I have yet to find an answer for. Matt was really kind of like our last chance marketer, and he's been exemplary. And you guys were just a shot in the dark. And you guys were awesome. I mean, you guys were a lucky 1-2 strike that we've had to kind of reassert ourselves in our market. But how does the average business owner know that these guys are it? Because mind you, a lot of these companies have very good reviews on G2 and Trustpilot and these kind of places. But I feel like some of those reviews, or a lot of them, might be fake. They might be incentivized. Like, fill it out, you get a free coffee, and they're not really meaningful. Like, people are just kind of making it up. How can you tell? Like, for me, when it came to working with Matt, I knew Matt was the one because Matt never tried to hide. He took several of my phone calls before we committed. I actually annoyed Matt. Matt actually regretted ever doing the ad in the first place and getting me that call. But that's what attracted me to Matt was he was aggressively transparent. There was never like some of these marketers would intentionally talk in fake code to pretend like they're so smart or hey, I gotta go. I have like 5 million people calling me because they were trying to avoid answering my questions. But Matt was very transparent. He would take them on head on. He's like, you know what? Can we continue tomorrow? I have your question. We'll continue, and we would. And he was just so transparent and so knowledgeable. But what's your advice for the average, business owner who's looking for a marketer? How do you know he or she is the one? How do you know?
Let me shoot. I'll say this, Matt, and I'll let you go.
Sure.
As we round to the top of the hour here, right?
Yeah.
Watch this podcast for the next year. That's how you're gonna know. So,
there you go.
As we bring these other ad agencies on to interview, the ones that are willing to actually come on, as we start to ask the hard questions and hear from the doc. Yeah, watch this podcast, or read it. That's how you're going to find out, because we're going to push the.
There you go.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah,
absolutely. The biggest thing is transparency and willingness to have a conversation. And to Dr. Q's point, these guys will sit there and throw out a bunch of acronyms and all this other stuff, trying to sound smart. But at the end of the day, they really don't know anything. They just took a course or something, and they think they know how to do it. One thing that I've heard from folks, and thank you for the kind words, Dr. Q, is a lot of people like us just because I'm willing to get on the phone with you and talk. You're having an issue. Let's talk through it. Let's figure out how to fix it. And we do it right then and there. It's not, let's talk again in a week or any type of stuff. Or talk to my account manager or something. It's a damn issue. Let's do it now. Let's get it fixed now, because it's affecting your revenue. It's affecting your spend. Let's get it fixed.
Correct.
Most people don't do that.
Yeah, I think a successful match is going to be one where both the marketing agency and the business are tied together. Mm-hmm. I think the more predatory agencies don't see it that way. They're trying to grab their money without any regard for the success of their client. And what ends up happening is, okay, fine, you made your retainer money, you made your retainer, but you hurt the client. They're upset. They're definitely not going to refer people to you. If anything, they might bash your brains out to other people. But if you do it right and you make a fan, then great, you have sustainable revenue long term for yourself as a marketer. And if you have a fan, he's going to tell 5 other of his friends. You don't have to waste money on ads for those 5 guys. They're motivated because they saw their own friend getting helped by you. You get it's like you're hitting the jackpot. You did a good job for the client. He's happy. He'll keep spending. And 7 of his buddies come on, and you're getting internal referrals. So I just wish more marketers kind of knew that. I think a lot of marketers, they're looking at this business from just a strictly financial standpoint, where I'm going to sit back and collect $7,000 a month from just 5 people. That's $35,000. I'm going to buy a boat, and that's foolhardy, I think.
Oh yeah, and kind of to the point earlier about like the 90 leads in 90 days thing. What a lot of those guys will do just that. They'll go and they'll try to get as much business as they can. They don't care if they produce, because they're going to say, okay, well, I'll get you 90 leads in 90 days. You're not going to pay. Okay, well, you're still paying your ad spend. They want your round number $4,000 for the setup fee. Okay, well, over 3 months, they're still getting paid. They don't care.
Yeah.
And you know what? They'll burn through your budget. If they get lucky, great. If not, well, they'll just go and recycle and start a new business and then just repeat the process. And that's the bad part about the med spa marketing industry, is there's so many shady people in the industry who will just burn. And then next thing you know, I'm not saying that we're the most amazing agency in the world, but like when we talk to folks, they're like, I've already worked with 19 other agencies. They're all terrible. How are you better? Okay,
that's a good question. That's what this podcast is about.
Yeah. It's a good question. The thing I always tell people is, if working with me, look at the risk profile. I don't know if I'm better than the last people you worked with. You don't know if I'm better than them or they're better than me. You just look at that and trust your gut. And I've gotten business and I've lost out on business because of that. But at the end of the day, it's my integrity. I have to sleep at night and I have to look at my wife and daughter in the face. And it's more important to me to have their trust. And I feel good about myself than trying to score $5,000 out of somebody, That's how we do it.
That's what's up.
Good. Question. What are we going to talk about next week, guys? What are the topics?
We'll figure something out. We'll probably talk about hormone therapy finally, our launch of that, and we're going to talk about our new ads, the UGC ads that we got coming out.
Yeah, let's bring some ads on next week, guys, and let's look at them. And Matt, maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the new AI tools. I know that needs to be a topic coming up, like AI sales call automation and AI automated instant messaging on your landing pages.
Yeah, we're trying to get that started as well. So we'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Would be good topic.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that was fun, guys. I had a good time.
It was nice.
How was I as host? Did I do a good job for y'all?
You did fantastic.
Did great, man. You did good.
You get tired of being a doctor, man. Be a podcast host. Be the next Joe Rogan.
Exactly, the Dr. Joe Rogan.